That's my big dance move right there.
We should come up with one that, I take, you go first and then I'll do that. And then we'll do
like
wave.
A wave?
Yeah. And then I'll. Yeah.
Hey,
we have to come up
we're
with some
here.
more tricks.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi,
What's
it's
up?
the Tara Show. We are live. It is March. Wait a minute. I need to mute my YouTube.
Okay.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Hi. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Hello. We have survived till Thursday. Bless us all. How are you, Devlin?
Fair to partly cloudy. It's very irritating to watch. We were just talking before the show. What we're going to talk about today is the
Correct.
Democrats who are capitulating.
We are fired up.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
And that's what gets me crazy. It really does.
We're supposed to be the good guys, right?
We are the good guys. Yes.
We are the good guys. And yet, the big story this morning is 10 Democrats voting with Republicans to censure one of their own, which makes absolutely no sense. The other night, the joint address to Congress, first of all, I did not watch it. I wasn't
neither.
home.
Me neither.
I was out. I was out at my beloved Low Bar Corral singing songs from the 70s and 80s, and we were yacht rocking, and it was so much better than paying attention. But I mean, I saw, the things, and I saw what happened, but the thing that was frustrating is that Democrats did not do something that was a unifying one, all acting as one,
right?
Which is what we needed to see, not trickling out here and there, not some people holding up some signs, not some people wearing black, some people wearing pink, some people walking out, some people staying. There should have been a complete boycott of the speech from Democrats. Either that or they all show up wearing the same stuff and then they all leave as one. Because turning your back and walking out on him also makes sense. Like Maxwell Frost did that and had a message on his T-shirt. And Jasmine Crockett walked out, and Melanie Stansberry. But in dribs and drabs.
Yeah,
it wasn't
had to be
like a rising up.
Yes, it had to be a coordinated protest where they all got up and walked the F out.
Was not. And so what we saw instead was our man, Rep. Al Green of Texas. And let's first of all acknowledge that Black Democrats from Texas have really stepped up. And between Al and Jasmine Crockett, and we just lost a voice in Texas whose name has fallen out of my head, but he was going to take over for Sheila Jackson Lee, and now they're going to have another special election. But we should not be stronger or speaking more emphatically than our elected representatives, and it's frustrating. So here are the 10 Democrats that voted to censure Representative Al Green, who stood up in defiance of Trump, obstructed the lie, and declared the truth, which was Donald Trump does not have a mandate to cut Medicaid, to eliminate Medicaid. He doesn't have a mandate at all.
He doesn't have a mandate, period. Exactly. He ran away from everything that the Republicans are doing. Let's not forget, he pretended to know nothing about Project 2025. He didn't even know how to pronounce it. Project 2025. I don't even know what it is.
No, I just have Agenda 47. They're not the same exact thing.
Right. And it is extreme.
I'm not putting the whole
extreme.
Heritage Foundation here in my staff or anything like that. So,
exactly.
Oh my goodness. So, anyways, here are and so when he stood up is when all Democrats should have stood up. All of them. And you said this before we went on, but we saw it 2022 at the State of the Union. Joe Biden is speaking truth to power, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert stood up, and you called them baboons. I called them barking trained seals. Whatever you wanted to call them, they didn't get censured for what they did, and they should have. They should have been censured and removed from the chamber.
You're right.
Neither, right?
Yes. Joe Biden, they should have stopped
about that.
But this is what Democrats do. When Mike Johnson pretended he was a big, strong man of masculinity and said, Sergeant at Arms, remove that man from the chamber. I mean, you're talking about this is
so
even
performative.
Yeah, but why didn't the Democrats do that? They never.
I don't know why.
To the
and that's what's so
baboons,
frustrating.
who are jumping up
what?
and screaming
Exactly.
and right.
Well, we're gonna make a dream wish list of Democrats that we want to get on this show to talk to and ask questions of. Not in not in a hostile way. We might feel a little churned up. There are people I want to talk to specifically and ask them my why questions, why this, why that. But for people who do not know, these are the 10 Democrats that we will now primary because we're done. They are, and this is it. They're not getting another chance. We gave Fetterman way too many chances. We can get to him. These are the 10 House Democrats that voted to censure their own. There they are. Amy Barra, Ed Case, Jim Costa, Laura Gillen, Jim Himes, Chrissy Houlihan, Marcy Kaptur, Jared Moskowitz, which is a huge disappointment, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, and we'll get back to her in 1 second, and then Tom Suozzi in New York. So here's my person. And first of all, before we came on the show today, I responded to tweets from all of them. Asked them, why'd you do that? We're not going to get answers. Right. Some of them put out tweets saying, well, I voted to censure a Democrat because rules. And it's just like, fuck your rules. Pardon me, we're not supposed to swear that much on this show. But
right, that's true. We promise.
If you're not, if your colleagues are not playing by the rules, then you can't expect them to play by rules that you've decided you're going to play by. So if they're acting in violation of House rules and House decorum, then you need to go beyond what they're doing to hold them accountable. So you either turn around and censure the Republicans for what they're doing, or you get up and you walk out with your colleagues, but you certainly don't vote to silence the voice of one of your own. That does not make sense. So Tom Suozzi, if you don't know who he is, he's the one who won the special election to get George Santos's seat in New York. So you got the grifting, lying criminal seat, and you're not going to act like a real Democrat? Bye, Tom.
Yeah, he's been very weak from the beginning, though. I
don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Well, that's what happens when you don't elect a black Democratic woman instead of a white guy, because you can... A Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, whatever you call yourself, every single problem in American history can be traced back to a mediocre white man. Sorry, but true. Then you have Marie Gluesenkamp Perez in Washington. And I have a personal connection here because she represents my former district, which is Washington's 3rd. And that's Southwest Washington, right across the river from Portland, Oregon, where I now live. And Marie Gluesenkamp Perez is a Democrat in that she was a Republican who ran as a Democrat.
Oh, wow.
Because that seat was being challenged by Joe Kent, who is very much a MAGA plant in the worst possible way, like Rand Paul light is what I call him. Now, that seat was held originally by Jamie Herrera Butler for a very long time before Washington was blue, and then that seat flipped to Jamie. Jamie Herrera Butler, you may recall, was one of the 10 Republicans that voted for Trump's second impeachment after January 6th, because she was with Kevin McCarthy in his office when he called Trump to beg him to call off the crowd because they were trying to break into Kevin McCarthy's office window.
Call off the peaceful protest tourist visit?
Call off that just normal tourist visit where people were shitting and smearing their feces on the walls.
Defecating and urinating in the halls. I don't know. Somebody needs to show them how to behave, but yeah.
Jamie Herrera Butler was fine when she was voting with Trump like 97% of the time, but as soon as she stood up and spoke the truth about what happened on January 6th, then all of a sudden she's a rhino. All of a sudden she's not a real Republican.
Right.
And it was crazy, and I witnessed it up close in real time. I had Joe Kent tell me during an interview with him that Jamie Herrera Butler's not a real Republican and she's protected by Kevin McCarthy. And I was like, that's interesting. That's an interesting tidbit that never got into the mainstream media. I wonder why. Anyway, the whole point of all of this, and impeach Trump now is now trending. Kamala Harris is now trending, and everyone's like, why can't fix it, Kamala, fix it? And it's like, fuck you, you should have voted for her. Sorry about that, but you should have.
Where were you Democrats who stayed home? I hold them equally responsible, not just for the Trumpanzees, but there were 8, what was it? It keeps changing. I used to say 8 million that stayed home, and somebody told me it was more. But the amount of
I don't
Democrats,
believe any of the stats.
Yeah,
because
but
of
you're
Clary's
right.
Starlink. I don't believe any of it.
Yes, that's true. But but if these Democrats that voted for Biden and stayed home, if they had not stayed home, we would be in a different world right now. But yeah, and instead of this disgusting,
again, I don't know why
we in the office. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I still don't know. We never got a forensic audit of the 2024 election, as we should have, even after several data scientists sent duty to warn letters to Kamala Harris saying, here's some stuff that we found, including our own Tom Hartman, who participates here on Political Voices Network. And Tom Hartman is not a conspiracy theorist. Tom Hartman has a lot of gravitas, and he would not entertain election conspiracy theories. He would only entertain factual information, which is why he had Steven Spoonemore on his show. And I shared that clip a million times over. I don't understand why Democrats never challenge.
You know why?
Oh, because rules, because MAGA challenge.
And that's it. And that's it.
It's not denialism.
Right.
But it's making sure we have the truth.
Exactly. But the Democrats, this is what I think, and I mean, it's just judging by their actions. They don't want to cast doubt on the elections like the Republicans. And they also don't want people not to believe in the elections. And that's why they used to do that. I mean, it's always been the same. It's always been frustrating with the Democrats not standing up or doing the same things. Like, for example, with when the Republicans send out those caging letters, which are now legal. It used to be illegal to send, because what the Republicans do is they send postcards to somebody and it looks like junk mail. A lot of people just disregard it and they say, hey, are you still living at this address? And when the postcard is not returned, they kick them off the rolls. And that's what the Republicans do. It was called voter caging for years, and it was illegal. But the Supreme Court recently ruled that it is perfectly legal, and that's part of their...
They did.
Exactly. So, but the fact is, why don't the Democrats do that in Republican districts? They don't.
There's a lot of things that they can be doing that they're not doing, and I don't know how to better. What's frustrating is that we have a lot of great ideas to get to the Democrats, and we should be able to directly communicate with them a lot better, and it's been really hard. I mean, our voices are being suppressed on most social media.
Yes.
I mean, I know my Facebook engagement is way down. My Twitter engagement is basically nothing. We're seeing more people gathering on Substack and Blue Sky, which is great. And Senate Democrats now have a Blue Sky account. House Democrats have a Blue Sky account, which is better, so we can spend less time on Twitter. But the questions are pretty easy to answer. Like, why you doing this? Is my question. Why? This is not a normal time.
It's not.
We are not in a normal situation, and it really, I feel like it's gotten even worse since last Friday when we watched the bullying in the Oval Office of Zelensky, which is such an... You and I haven't had a chance to talk since that happened, so it's a huge embarrassment on the global stage. And they essentially invited him there just to bully him in front of hand-selected right-wing media, and and that there was no real pushback. And again,
from the Republicans, of course.
Well, from anybody.
And this is the thing. I wrote something for the Political Voices Substack about it.
Yes, and it was excellent. Everybody should read it.
Thank you. And because laying it out, Trump is a Russian asset. Come on, let's not be deluded.
How could he make it more plain for you?
Right.
People need to stop denying that it's true. I mean, he basically said, we're Russia now.
Right.
Basically
we have
said that.
Sided with the world's most disgusting dictators against our democratic allies. It's frustrating. It's baffling. But when you look at it through the lens of the acceptance that he is a traitor, he's been compromised, then it all makes sense. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? Because he's in Russia's pocket. I don't know what they have on him, but it might just be the fact that he likes Putin. He admires strongmen, and Putin promised him a tacky hotel in Moscow. Just as simple as that.
Well,
that's it.
And it goes back to Donald Trump's deep-seated mommy and daddy issues. His parents didn't love him. So first, Roy Cohn was able to to capitalize on that weakness and used him to further his own career. And Putin has done the exact same thing since 1987 when they first met. Putin's a very savvy politician. He's very smart, and he is able to find. He is he started out as a KGB agent. He was trained to find his opponent's weaknesses and exploit them, which is what he's been doing since 1987. So he goes to Trump and he makes all of these promises. I'll be your daddy. I will love you, take care of you. So Donald Trump helped Putin and the Russian mob get a stronghold in New York in the late 80s. That was the first step. He showed his usefulness in that way. And then he's just been grooming him ever since. And the only reason this did not happen in 2020 is because too many Republican voters died of COVID. And they were not anticipating a lack of voter support because they were all dead. See, killing off your own voting base is a bad political idea. So this time around, instead of trying to count on voting, they just manipulated satellites.
Yeah. I agree.
And
definitely,
we need Democrats to be saying that because it's true.
Right. I mean, if it's true,
so frustrating.
Exactly. If it's true, what's the point of running away from it? We have to face this head on. Everybody knows what we're up against. You know, we have someone in the Oval Office who is a Russian asset, who says he wants to be a dictator, who's destroying the federal government.
Or a king.
Yes. Right. And I mean, to sign an executive order undoing a constitutional amendment like birthright citizenship, he has got no absolute right. That's why I'm so confused about it. And we were just talking.
It's really frustrating. Right. It's like, are you wiping your butts with the Constitution now?
I mean, why do you run around with like a chicken without a head when he says that we are going to do away with the Department of Education? But he has no friggin' right to do it. I might as well write.
He can't do it unilaterally. Exactly. It's just like you can't change the name of Greenland to Red, White, and Blue Land.
I know. They're so pathetic.
They're also, and he couldn't be weaker and more spineless. Look how quickly he folded on the tariffs. Now there's not going to be tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
I know, and that's
chaos. One of the last things I saw before I started. Right. You know, we started here, but he folded so quickly because he they don't understand that tariffs are bad.
Right. He doesn't get it.
Fine, by the way. By the way. We were all fine under Joe Biden because we had the greatest economy in the world and lifted other global economies at the same time. There was no reason for these tariffs in the first place, except for the fact that Donald Trump is jealous of Joe Biden.
That's it. That's why he has to lie all the time. Oh, he sucks. He did this. Oh, you remember?
No, he didn't.
The Russia hoax.
None of this is Joe Biden's fault.
He was a disaster. Everything is Joe Biden's fault. The chickens, the fact that eggs are.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's because Joe Biden committed chicken holocaust or something. Everything is never his fault. So, but yeah, I mean, he's just a liar. It's
ridiculous. And if one more person, and then there's the whole Elon Musk thing, which is if one more person says, well, why is finding government waste bad? Well, it's bad if an unelected immigrant Nazi bureaucrat is doing it.
Yeah.
And I had some MAGA mean girl on Instagram step to me yesterday asking me that question. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought MAGA didn't want immigrants coming to America and stealing Americans' jobs.
Right. But
she came back with, oh, no, we're only mad if it's an illegal alien who does it. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So first of all, no human is illegal. Okay, so first of all, that. Okay? There are different ways to say that someone is in the country and does not quite have their citizenship yet, but they came here because they were escaping a genocide in their country. I don't know. But anyway, what you're saying is you're okay with an unelected immigrant from South Africa not doing this, but you wouldn't be if he was a melanated South African immigrant.
Well,
and then there was all of a sudden she disappeared from the conversation.
Well, what's she going to say? Well,
because they don't have anything. When you throw facts at somebody, what do? They move the goalposts or they stop responding. Or they go, libtard.
Right. That's it. They have nothing.
They don't have any answers.
Yep. They just have pejoratives. They'll start calling you a name or something.
They do.
But that's the thing. And also another article I wrote for the Substack was about Elon Musk. I mean, he was an illegal immigrant, by the way. He came in on a student visa and then he went to Stanford for 2 days. I mean, everything about him is a fraud. And he dropped
just
out
like
after
Melania.
Yeah, exactly. He dropped
Melania
out
and the
after
anchor
2 days, and then immediately when he dropped out of Stanford after 2 days, he became an illegal immigrant because he had
Correct.
no right to work in the country on his visa, and that was conveniently covered up later, of course, by his well-connected friends. But everything about him is a fraud. They're all frauds.
Everything. And the sight of him and his mother and
God.
one of the spawn on his shoulders because he's not
Right.
disembarking from Marine One. That's our tax dollars flying them around. And they're sleeping in our White House like it's a hotel.
How dare you? How dare you?
I mean, how soon before we see right? And how soon before we see the Trump logo on the outside of the White House?
It's disgusting.
How soon?
It's disgusting.
It's all disgusting.
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying about him. He's just, and that's another thing, when everybody's, we're talking about the illegality of what Trump's doing, what Musk is doing, firing people. He's got no constitutional authority. But he's also, what about the immorality of what he's doing? It's
of course,
fine.
it's fully immoral.
Right, and fire everybody? He's throwing our...
But then they're starting to hire people back.
I know.
Like, all of the people that they fired from the NIH and the CDC, like all of them got letters saying, we would like you to return to work. Oops, our bad.
Because they suck at everything they touch, they destroy. And this is really about selling off the country to the highest bidder. That's why they're firing everyone.
The $5 million gold visa.
That's right. That's
so
it.
That anybody can come and live here.
It's about dragging us back to the system the founders fought a revolution to overthrow. They're taking us back.
Speaking of which, I'm wearing my Hamilton shirt today.
Nice.
Because I got the Schuyler sisters on me because tonight I'm seeing the touring production of Hamilton here in Portland. You want to feel extra wicked patriotic, just listen to Hamilton.
Okay.
Because so much, have you ever listened to it or seen it?
I haven't. No.
Oh my God. I feel like that should be everybody's assignment. Specifically, if I had any power, I would make all Republicans watch Hamilton like Clockwork Orange style, strapped into a thing with their eyes open so they can't look away, so they understand that what they are doing is literally the opposite of what the founders intended. Right. Literally the opposite. And so, there are just go back and read our real history and what it took to create this country. And that you would hand it back. And one of the characters in Hamilton is King George. And he's like, well, you'll be back because you'll see how hard it is to lead. And eventually, when pushed, and there are so many lines in Hamilton that ring true. And I don't know if you saw, but Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeffrey Seller, who are the producers of Hamilton, have canceled the Hamilton performance for next year that was going to be at the Kennedy Center.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Because of Trump. Exactly. Right. Taking over the Kennedy Center and turning it into the Kid Rock Center. So, but just that is how you resist.
Right.
And every act of resistance, big or small, all of it matters. All of it. So
and you're right though. But because the people, as far as the country, the history is concerned, that this is what I always say to Democrats. When the Republicans are waving their flags and whatnot, that they love the the symbols of America because the substance is very beyond them, and we don't leave people behind, and they talk about. We were built on Judeo-Christian values. No, we were built on liberal age of enlightenment values, where there was a radical notion that we didn't need a king and an aristocracy.
Correct.
And the founders,
we were escaping from what they're doing now.
What they're doing, exactly. And it's always been that tension with conservatives. They believe that there should be a natural hierarchy where the rich run and rule. And that's how you can tell that they're meant to be above us because they're rich. And everyone else fights over the scraps and awaits their rewards in heaven. And that's why when everything that they do, like going after the wall of separation between church and state, going after the Department of Education, it's all the pillars of democracy. And that's how the Democrats should message it. They're attacking the pillars of democracy. That's why they hate it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. That's part of the unifying message. The other unifying message should be obstruct Trump at every turn.
Right.
I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is.
Because he's a fascist.
You need to be a unified, united front. You need to be a human wall of obstruction. Absolutely, at every turn. And it doesn't matter what the bill is. It doesn't matter if there's a tiny scrap of good in a bill that is overwhelmingly bad.
It has to stop.
You need to be asking, why would you want to eradicate the Department of Education? If you don't like the American education system, if you don't like public education, but you can't afford private school, and you want to be a crazy person, go Christian homeschool your kids and turn them into a cult freak like you. That is your right. As an American, you want to do that, you can do that. You don't have the right to take away education from other people.
From everyone.
You don't have the right to take, and that's the bottom line for all of this. If you don't remember anything that we say on this show, the bottom line is our government is not supposed to take anything from us.
Right.
They're not supposed to take away. They're supposed to provide things to set us up for success every single day of our lives from birth until death. And who does that? Democrats do that. Democrats deliver the programs that we need, and they deliver everything that Republicans remove. Why would you want to take something away?
Right.
But how does that make sense?
Exactly.
And that's a question no one has been able to answer. Why do you think taking things away from Americans is a good idea? Because it's not.
Because they hate, when they talk about government, hating government, then what they really mean is they hate democracy. And they just don't believe, when they talk about, we're going to shrink government and drown it and all that, they're talking about shrinking and drowning democracy. And I wrote another thing last night for the Political Voices Substack about how government is not a business, because that's another canard that they peddle. And I heard Steve Wozniak, for the Apple CEO, he was being interviewed, and even though he was criticizing Elon Musk, it really annoyed me. That's why I wrote the article. He said, "Oh, it makes sense to run government as a business." No, it does not.
No, it doesn't.
It does not.
We're not a business.
And because businesses the bottom line for a business is profit. Not in a country. There are things that you do that aren't necessarily related to the profit margin or the bottom line. And the way what they're doing to our fellow Americans by firing them, that's basically what they're saying. You are nothing. You are an expendable pawn, and they don't care who they hurt. So
which is stupid, because if you think you're running this country as a business, we're actually your board of directors, because our taxes pay your salaries.
Yes.
So you really shouldn't be telling us what you want to do. You should be listening to us tell you what we need and then giving it to us. And Joe Biden did that. Democrats do that. Democrats don't say, "Hey, I'm going to eradicate this program and give you something else that sucks in its place."
Right. Give you nothing.
We have concepts of a plan. No Democrat has ever said that.
I know.
Democrats are like, here's an infrastructure bill. Here's the CHIPS Act. Here's here's Obamacare. And Republicans are like, well, too many people like this, so let's get rid of it. Yeah. How does that make sense?
Because
how does it make sense?
It doesn't make sense. But that's why when I do my show, I always sign off that we will win, because we, if you notice, I'm sure everybody does, that Republicans have to pretend that they are that they're liberal, their policies. Like, look at Trump, the way that he ran. He ran on everybody's going to get health care. It's going to be beautiful and wonderful. And nobody's going to have to pay a dime. It's going to be the best, the easiest deal ever.
Lies.
Right? Yeah,
he has liabilities.
Are lies. Exactly. And they all have to pretend that they, give lip service to democracy, and that they're, of course, going to help help seniors. Everything's going to be great. And they lie by saying, "Oh, well, we give money to everyone at the top, and it's all going to trickle down, and everybody's going to be prosperous."
Never has, never worked.
Exactly. Nope. Everything is a lie.
The new tax plan. The new tax plan only benefits people who make more than $360,000 a year. I don't personally know. I don't have anybody in my life who makes that much money. So what I'm more concerned about is the rest of us who don't make that money, and our taxes are going to go up, and the rich people will have to pay less in taxes.
That's it.
And that's not what was promised.
No.
And nothing, obviously, Donald Trump never intends to keep any of his promises, and he's not going to apologize when he breaks them. And he doesn't take responsibility for anything he does, but he takes credit for things that other people were successful at. He is not a successful businessman. He bankrupted casinos in Atlantic City.
I know.
You tell me how that's successful. He's now no longer allowed to operate a business in New York because he was guilty of 34 counts of fraud. He's a convicted felon.
He's a parasite.
He's a convicted felon.
Just like Musk.
Like how? How is he allowed to run for president when he's a convicted felon?
Exactly. And that's why the Democrats have to message.
I don't get it.
And this is the thing.
It's so fucking frustrating.
It is, because this is the thing when we're talking about the Democrats voting to censure Al Green and all that. Not having the problem is they don't have a unified message, and this is what
I keep saying. What it is, it's obstruct Trump, because when Obama was in office, the Republicans' unifying message was obstruct Obama,
and they all got in line. When Obama was elected, they all got together, and Mitch McConnell released a letter detailing exactly what they were going to do, and the Republicans didn't have the presidency, the House, or the Senate. Same situation, But not exactly the same, because the Democrats had won in a landslide. So they had a clear majority, whereas, of course, the Republicans they just won in a squeaker. Trump didn't receive the most votes. More people voted against him, so he didn't get the popular vote. I don't know why they keep saying it, but, of course,
oh, my God, I hate the Electoral College so much. I just hate it. Yeah. It's antiquated. It's racist. We don't need it. And then what it ends up... It does not reflect the voice of the people. It just doesn't. It helps the rich,
and that's why the Republicans want it. They'll keep. Correct. They don't like democracy. They don't want it to break out. That's why it doesn't
make sense. It doesn't make. You don't like democracy? Get on the repainted Lolita Express and go live in Moscow.
Right, go to Moscow.
Everyone can tell you what to do and how to think and how to live, and real Americans will stay in real America and continue to live the way we were living fine under the Biden-Harris administration, that people didn't realize how good they had it because their lives were not filled with fear and drama driven by the government.
That's right.
They were still living under the fear and drama driven by Trump. Right. And so his mood has infected so much of this country. This country decided that they loved being mad and that it was better to be fighting all the time. And Joe Biden, honestly, I was really naive in 2021 when Joe Biden came into office, because I thought Joe Biden is a happy man. Joe Biden is an optimistic, warm, loving, like America's grandpa or uncle. I called him Uncle Joe for years because I always loved him. And I thought, because the president's mood usually sets the mood for the country. Joe Biden kept saying, I have all the optimism. We're doing all this good stuff. Good. I'm a good guy. And the whole country was like, nah, I want to be mad.
I know.
That was frustrating because, again, Democrats should have been embracing and lifting and exalting and blanketing the media, and instead the media was like, Donald Trump did this. This is why it's bad for Joe Biden.
Yes, exactly. Again, and how old he is. That's the only thing they did. Were polls about how his age and why isn't the good news about the economy breaking through? Because half the country is listening to right-wing propaganda, and that's why this is why when you were talking, I'm thinking that the problem is, of course, it's the media, it's money and politics. Those are the two evil twins that have us in this situation.
Absolutely,
but the fact that the Democrats don't hammer home that Fox News is a propaganda channel just baffles me. As Trump devalues the currency of truth when it comes to the legitimate media that runs by some standards, if they get something wrong, they print a correction or whatnot, and that's why he had to devalue it. But the fact that that the Democrats don't point out that Fox News was fined the largest judgment in American history against a media company for lying to its viewers. Why don't they bring that up? Or the right-wing influencers literally funded by the Kremlin, like Benny Johnson and these others. Right.
The ones who were standing with the binders of the redacted Epstein files, which was so ridiculous.
Exactly.
And now I read today that the Washington Post is courting right-wing influencers to write for them.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
The Washington Post
well,
met with
the
woman who does like the Free Beacon or something.
God.
And then also Gavin Newsom, who has been a really strong voice for us, and I call him Studley Newsom, and I really like that. What he's done for California is great. Yeah. He has a new podcast. The first person he invited on his podcast was Charlie Kirk to talk about
what
and the clip, or maybe it wasn't his first, but it was the first one that I saw, and the clip that I saw was Gavin Newsom saying to Charlie Kirk, the Republicans in MAGA are really good at just saturating social media with your messaging. Do you think Democrats should be doing the same kind of thing and just blanketing content across social media? Well, no. I mean, I've seen some tweets from Democrats, and they're not very strong, and I don't want a strongly worded tweet. I want a dedicated Democratic press secretary standing out there every single day saying, here's actually what happened. Yeah. Here's actually the news. Here's real stuff. And I want that dedicated Democratic press secretary to be Jessica Tarlov, because she comes from Fox News.
Yes,
and if
she's awesome.
Trump can hire Fox News people to lie to people, we can hire a Fox News person to tell them the truth.
Absolutely.
But again, because our voices are so suppressed where most of Democrats gather, it's hard to get. And I'll just keep tagging them. A lot of them follow me back, but I can't get seen, and it's very frustrating. But doesn't mean we stop.
Twitter is a cesspool, and yes, we're all suppressed. And in fact, I don't know if you've noticed, if you put the hashtags, like he's removed no billionaires. That was a hashtag that's gone. When it doesn't come up when you. Yeah, I mean, you could put it in there, but
Elon is a Nazi.
Yeah, you could put it in there, but it won't, automatically populate, of course, because he removes it. I mean, he's a very thin-skinned, tiny little man-child,
so
really.
They're all of it. And why do we have to pay for it? Is the whole thing we are paying for his life of grudges.
I mean, it's the $40 billion of the government contracts. That's why I find it so disgusting that not one person on the corporate media talks about the immorality of firing all of these Americans and the consequences, the chaos that they're going to inflict on the communities and their families.
They already are.
And it's just and everything else that touches those communities. When you don't have money in your pocket, you don't buy. You got to cut down on your groceries. You got to, your local businesses all suffer too. So
that's right.
Yeah, but they're already saying that Trump, his policies could possibly bring on the next depression. So, and the next jobs
I think we're already depressed enough, thanks to him.
Exactly.
And the fact that he's been able to accomplish so many terrible things in such a short amount of time, it makes you wonder. One of the things that I wonder is are they trying to put as much terrible out as possible because they feel like someone's going to yoink them back?
They are. See, it's part of and when I'm sure if you've read parts of the Project 2025, I tried to read the whole thing. It is the stuff of nightmares, and
it is.
It's one of the things that stuck out for me. And I was telling my aunt about this before the election, and of course people didn't believe it, but you got to believe them.
Why would they?
Because I said, and all of this is in Project 2025, it says that they will do this in 120 days, because that's how the Nazis, of course, destroyed the Weimar Republic, and that's how they were initially successful in invading France and Poland, because there was a blitzkrieg. You go on your back foot. You don't know how to respond, and that's the problem with Democrats when it just doesn't see. That's what's so frustrating, because they have Project 2025 too, so they could just read and know what's coming next. And I told
they brought it to the DNC.
Right. Yeah, and I told
brought it
my
out
aunt
on stage.
Exactly. I said, and he's going to try to do away with the Department of Education. Yeah, and my aunt was skeptical. What are you talking about? And here he is.
And here he is, and and they thought that. Well, first of all, it's hard to tell the truth to a propaganda cult, right? Mm-hmm. So and I think I've mentioned this on this show, and I've talked about it on Hal Sparks' show as well. My stepfather voted for Trump a third time.
Oh no!
And when
I'm sorry.
it's a heartbreaking thing. So when I was at the DNC, Michelle Obama, when she was speaking, gave us an assignment that said, go have the difficult conversations. And the other thing that happened at the DNC is that we were reminded that Republicans do not hold a patent or a trademark on patriotism. They don't own the American flag.
Not in the least.
Not in the least. And they don't own the word patriot. And they don't get to take that from us. No. And so I called my stepfather from a street in Chicago, and I was standing on a corner crying because I said, they're going to cut Medicare. They're going to cut Social Security. They're going to take away your retirement. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I said, listen to me, old man. You want to vote away your Social Security and your retirement and everything you've worked for your entire life. That's your business. You don't get to vote away my mother's livelihood.
Right. Oh, God.
My mother. And then, and we went into it because, my stepfather, when he married my mother, inherited the mantle of being grandpa to 6 grandchildren. Eventually, there are 6 grandchildren in the family, and 4 of them are full and all of them are half Jewish. All of them. Wow. 4 of them are girls.
Wow.
My 4 nieces, and then there's me, and then there's my mother. And I said to him, I'm like, you have Jewish women in your family.
Yeah.
How do you not vote to protect us? There is in his universe, gay people, women.
Well, that's what's so offensive.
People on government assistance. There were years where if I didn't have SNAP benefits, I would have starved.
Yeah.
I don't understand a party trying to starve and kill their own base. How does it make America healthy if you take away food benefits and health care and Medicare and Medicaid? So
because
again,
it's racism. That's what it is. Because they are.
White people are hungry too.
Yes, but the
thing.
And
white
as a
people
percentage,
in MAGA are on Medicaid.
Right.
But people in MAGA need Social Security.
They do, and they when they're the ones screaming about their pre-existing conditions protections, suddenly Republicans are they play these or they made these commercials about how we will always protect your pre-existing conditions. What the hell? As they're trying to overturn Obamacare. What did Trump do? Over 60 times the first time, but it really is racism because these,
it is,
the right wingers, they're on Social Security, they're on public assistance.
They're all on the same programs.
Exactly.
Everybody is.
But
and
they
more
think
of them actually.
Yes. No, as
more
a percentage.
People in red states are on government assistance.
White people too. They're as a percentage are on public assistance more than people of color. And but it's all that what I'm trying to say is that what they think is it's other people are taking advantage. That's what they think, that it's they deserve it. It's the others, and that's why Republicans, when if you listen to the Trumpanzees, they're all like, we can't have my Medicare sucks because illegals are getting it, which is bullshit. As we know,
it's transgender fish or something.
Yeah, trans
stupid,
mice and all this other shit.
Mice,
right?
And that's not what it was. No, it's transgenic. Is not transgender. You morons.
Has anyone in the corporate media corrected it though? No, I only heard it.
I've seen tweets here and there, but what corporate media is anybody listening to now anyway?
Right.
Because they've all been pushed out, and that's another source of frustration. Like, Joy Reid apparently is blowing up hugely on Substack, and bless her for that. By the way, if those of you who are in the chat, if you are able to sign up for paid subscriptions to our Substacks or upgrade your subscription to Political Voice, like, this is where it matters the most. Yes. And if it's, I feel like I understand, times are hard for everybody. But if you can find $10 a month to pay for to pay for somebody in the independent media to keep going, those are the things that are going to matter, because our voices, we have to be the collective, overpowering voice now, while also continuing to hold them all accountable. And there are like billions of different things that people can do, and every act of resistance adds up. So whether you're doing $10 to a Substack, or you're making phone calls to Republicans and Democrats, or you're marching, or you're tweeting, or you're emailing, keep at it and don't give up. I hope you can't. Can you hear the construction that's going on in my neighborhood? Okay, good.
It sounds good.
Good.
You actually, your mic sounds a lot better today. I don't know what. It? Yeah, but it's weird.
Who knows? We're gonna get. By the way, everybody who kicked in a little scratch last week, thank you so much. Tara's sending me a microphone. We're gonna get me an interface and a webcam, and hopefully by next week we'll be.
It'll be
cooler.
Yeah,
also,
more professional.
We may be able to expand the show to more than one day a week.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that coming up.
I hear. I hear a rumor.
That's all that. So with the last few minutes that we have in the
show,
we
got 14 minutes.
Like 15.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to take questions from the chat because we couldn't get the phone line going today.
So maybe next week.
And if we're saying that we're having a conversation, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah. That's great. Good idea.
I always feel like that I'm better when I'm reacting. I'm more of a reactive because, like, despite what people might think, I don't wake up every day going, "Who can I mess with today?"
Of course,
it's more like what can we do today to push back against what we're seeing?
Right.
It's like one thing that I did this week. I'm really bugging Nancy Mace for the past few days.
She's
terrible.
A monster. Yeah.
She's a monster. She's a rape survivor, but she thinks that Donald Trump protects women.
I don't know. I mean,
let's believe her for now until we've been proven. Whatever. Yeah.
No,
I hear
what
she does is performative, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: any American citizen can call any elected official in the country and ask them questions or make comments. Now, it happens to be our job to hold these people accountable so that we can ask questions and then pass along our knowledge to the people who listen to us and trust us. That is what we're here for, and I take this responsibility very seriously. And so when I call, she has these two young guys, and I don't. They're different. I can hear the differences in their voices. So I've called them every single day since Friday to ask why Nancy Mace is okay with Donald Trump giving safe harbor in Florida to Andrew and Tristan Tate.
Disgusting.
I have seen zero pushback from Republicans.
What does she
say? Zero on
Nothing.
This. Nothing. Mm-hmm. And so what they've told me is that she has a statement forthcoming about the Epstein files and about the Tates. I have seen neither. And I've emailed her comms director, who's another MAGA mean girl. I have called her office. And so I would say in the chat, like, what so I want to get questions from the chat, but I also want to know what people are doing to hold Republicans accountable.
Right.
Besides us saying, hey, we have to hold them accountable. How are you doing it? Are you making calls? Are you emailing? Are you messaging them? What are you doing? What is your resistance looking like? And how can we lift that up?
Exactly. That's a good idea.
And I'm nearsighted, so I can't see
Okay.
everything. But do we have a question?
Anybody got any questions? But before we continue, just want to say thank you guys. Thank you, Christiane.
Thank you for being here.
For being a member. Thank you, Michael, for your super chat. And Jim.
Thank you, Jim, for moderating.
Yes. And for your super chat. And
thank you, super chat.
Yeah, and thank you, Pink Nightmare, for your super chat. It all matters. Thank you so much. And here's my cat, Francis. And I'm actually wearing
Francis.
This is him. It's his shirt.
I love
He's
it.
on the shirt.
I love it. I love that.
Francis.
I love
He's
that
here
we're so
in real life.
Oh, you know what?
On my shirt.
That's amazing.
Oh, sorry.
He's kind of a twin for. He's kind of a twin for my Duke. You know, the Tabby fam is real. So, kids in the chat, like, we're here. We're big voices. What do you want from us? What can we do to help you feel a little bit better? Because I feel like that's part of our job too.
We can't be hopeless here, right?
No. There are lots of things that we can do, but then there's also things that you can do to, like, help yourself get through it. And self-care is, read a nice rock and roll love story, like The Sound of Settling by me, Tara Dublin. And by, hey, Jeffrey, thank you for the $10.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey. How do we get that? Does it go to political voices?
It goes to political voices.
Well, maybe we can get George to send us some of that, and I can buy myself a cocktail tonight before Hamilton. I don't know. You can also, throw it over to my Venmo. Hey, Tara, let me buy you dinner.
Yeah.
That has happened, by the way. I've had followers last year. was it last year? Donald Trump's first arrest, when the mugshot came out. I went to a local bar that I like and bought myself a steak because it made me hungry. I felt like I hadn't eaten in 5 years.
It was a good day that day.
And I filmed myself doing it when I still had TikTok, and the guy on Newsmax got mad and he put me on Newsmax. And so people were like, go back and have another steak dinner. And so people started buying me steak dinners.
Oh, wow.
So for a while, I was going and getting a steak dinner every week. That was great. My mom was really happy to see me ingesting protein. So, but what can we do? I'm an online activist. I have a Facebook account using my real name. Not scared. Thank you, Christina.
Right.
Donald Trump is a giant coward. I don't understand why anybody is scared of him. He blocked me on Twitter 10 years ago.
It's
Never
amazing.
unblocked me.
But he's such a little beta, too, and he's so needy. And I had this tweet. Where the heck is it? Of Trump. I don't know if it'll come up here. This was
here's
10
a good
years
one.
ago.
What exactly does run the country like a business mean when you can't just fire poor people from society?
Right. Well, there is. If you read my article,
Putin will be? Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. Look,
do you think my bestie will show up and help and look at little girls' boobies with me?
What a needy
Will
bitch.
he become my new best friend? You were already friends with him in 2013.
What?
You
had been so pathetic. I mean, no one likes a needy bitch.
I love you.
Right.
I love you. There's the meme that I repeatedly share, which is the meme from The Shining, and Trump is kneeling in front of Putin. If you go to my Twitter, I'm sure I tweeted it today.
That's awesome.
It's a great meme from The Shining, but it's Trump in the furry suit and Vladdy on the bed, and they're both looking at the camera
nice.
And I'll tweet it all the time. It's probably my most tweeted meme because it's the most effective and realistic meme ever. But no, wait. First of all, Pink Nightmare just tweeted Tara for Congress. First of all, which one?
Which Tara? Tara's?
Not me. I would be a nightmare candidate. Nightmare candidate.
I know.
This mouth alone
I think
would
about
make me a nightmare candidate.
when I see Jasmine Crockett, and she's great.
Yeah, she's
but
doing it. She's swearing a lot now.
But when I sometimes when you watch her on C-SPAN, I relate to her a lot because she'll say, "Ooh, man, my blood, I can't take it. You know, this meeting gets my blood up," and all. Like she's feeling it, and I relate to that because it must be very hard to sit there and listen to that perjury Trader Green and all. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? And I've responded to her saying, I don't know how you go to work every day with these people, but I'm so grateful that you do, right? Both Taras for Congress.
We're packaged.
I mean,
right?
at this point,
why not?
At this point, I feel like why not? But I mean, no, because first of all, I mean, ask me to read a bill that is this many pages, and that's not happening. I'm not a policy wonk. I just want people to say truthful things.
Yeah.
And I want people to take care of the country. That's their job.
Right.
And if I have to go to, I would be delighted to go to Washington and take meetings with members of Congress and say, here's how you hold a Republican accountable.
Yeah.
You just say the truth about them. That's it. That is
but
it.
I gotta wonder about, like, you know, what's his name? Hakeem Jeffries. Where is the leadership?
And I love him.
You know,
because he has to walk such a fine line. First of all, he's a black man.
Yeah.
So there's a line he has to walk. He's a liberal black man, and he has to represent a party, not just his own. Right. And he has to represent his constituents, and Democrats are always held to higher standards than Republicans.
Oh wait, hold on. You see this?
You
see this?
What?
Wait, there's a. Last week this happened too.
Bryce?
Well,
Bryce
he had
to make
to
a thing happen.
Well, he was posting the N-word. I mean, what is the
Bryce,
point?
Come
but that's
on
what
now.
happened last week with someone else, and we had to.
That.
But what the fuck is the point of that? Like, N-I-G, you know, like you feel good about yourself being a disgusting
how old
racist?
Are you? It's like Bryce is 12 and his mom is out and she's and he's using the computer.
Why? I don't understand.
Because they don't have anything else.
Right. It's just the
This
N-word.
is what they do. It's
N-word.
the bullying and the juvenile middle school bully tactic. The N word, the R
like
word.
they prove us
calling
right.
me a bitch. They're
Right.
like, wah.
Like get
Okay,
a
so
get
you-
a
but you're not-
life. Do
But
something.
Bryce isn't.
that
You're
doesn't
not
suck.
doing anything.
Exactly.
You're not doing anything.
And
Like
that's
you
the
have a
thing.
moment.
Yeah.
When you have the opportunity to do something meaningful, you want to get our attention in a meaningful way. Ask us a real question that has some gravitas to it instead.
Yeah.
But see, that is absolutely
like
the epitome. But that is the epitome
fucking
of the
child.
MAGA default setting.
Right.
They have nothing
Racism.
substantive to say.
Yeah.
They have nothing of quality to say.
And that's
they
why
have
they're
no
so-
counter arguments.
They're so
They have
triggered.
nothing.
When they're called
and they're
racists.
so very angry.
Right. They even
They're
had
very
years
angry.
ago at CPAC, whatever their disgusting circle jerk of fascism.
Right,
There was one of their seminars was, are you tired of being called a racist when you know you're not? Okay, if you know you're not, we got a lot of words to call you, and we could pick up a lot of, we got very big words. We got very big brains over here.
Well,
we don't have to call you
right.
racist, it's just because you
are.
You are. That's why you are being
and if
called
you-
racist.
And that's why you get so mad about it.
Yeah,
And
it's
and there are
crazy.
ti-
Don't
I mean,
be racist.
It's not that hard. I don't know why. Like when the whole Lindy Lee thing happened, she called me a racist years ago, and it's like, look, your lies have no color. I don't
What
care where you're
happened?
from.
What happened with Lindy Lee?
Do you remember Lindy Lee?
I do.
You remember her, right?
Yeah, for people who
so
don't
years
know.
ago. Okay, so she came out of nowhere as a Democratic
Right.
influencer. In 2021 and 2022, she was in rooms because we were trying to, take care of the midterms and do all of that. And she was in all of these DM rooms with me, stirring up drama, making drama. And she came in with a low follower count. And then people were like, and then all of a sudden she had hundreds of thousands of followers. So people were like, oh, is she buying followers?
Right.
And then some people would say, oh, she's stealing tweets because her tweet looks like this tweet from JoJo from Jers. And this tweet looks like a tweet from Leona, and this tweet looks like one from Tara. And so we would have private one-on-one DM conversations, like totally stealing tweets. And then one day Lindy sent me a DM saying, hey, Tara, why are you telling people that I steal tweets? And I'm like, because you do. And here's an example, and here's an example. And then she went back to the main DM room and she said, Tara Dublin Rocks is a racist. She said shit about me and 50 Shades of Way, and she's a racist, and everyone needs to cancel her. And Jewish American ally for everybody.
Wow.
No, I never once said anything about her nationality or where she came from. I did not know her life, and also I had no idea who 50 Shades of Way was, where he came from, who he is, what his skin tone is, because I don't care. If you're a liar and a grifter and you're here to make money for yourself and you're not here for the party, bye. I have no time for you. And people sided with her and shut me out. And I got kicked out of DM rooms.
Way.
Yes, and people were mad at me.
That's fucked up.
And then as soon as Kamala Harris lost the election, there she was on Fox News going, I love Trump. I love Trump. Trump is great. Total grifter, totally opportunistic, getting called out by Jamie Harrison. She said that she was at the DNC as the woman's chair of the DNC. No, she wasn't. I was at the DNC. I didn't see her. So, it's like that.
Nuts.
And it's, if you, again, so this is just proof that MAGA is a cult that is, most of those people don't believe anything they say because they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And all of the accusations are confessions. They think that we're getting paid to be agitators. I mean, I get paid to write, but it's a mere pittance by comparison to what Tim Cesspool gets and Cat Turd.
Well, that's the thing. Let me tell you a story.
We don't get paid that.
Yeah,
I don't have a Soros check.
No.
I wish George Soros check, right?
I friggin' wish. But I remember. So Mike Malloy is a friend of mine, and I used to do field producing and whatnot for a show. And and he told a story. He told me this story right out of his mouth, where he and Sean Hannity were both broadcasters in Georgia. Okay, and one day they were at a party, some Christmas party, or whatever, and Hannity came over and he was like, "Yeah, how you doing, Mike?" And he said, "You still doing that liberal stuff? The money's in conservatism." All right, there you go.
Wow.
There you go.
That's Donald Trump said the same thing, though.
Yeah.
He said if he ever ran for president, he would run as a Republican.
Yes, and that's
it would be easier.
Mike said that he's the stupidest person he ever met, and he just reads whatever's in front of him, and so
it's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's all about the money. They don't care,
right? And I cannot think of an amount of money you could offer me to turn my back on my country. I can't.
How can you?
I am hand to mouth like everybody else, right? I am week to week, month to month, day to day, or whatever. You could offer me all of Elon Musk's money to sell out my country, and I would say no. I would say no. Even though there would be great things I could do with that money, I would never turn my back on America.
How could you live with yourself? How could you?
I couldn't. Right. I could never vote for a Republican, even if I didn't like the Democratic choices in the elections. Did I think Michael Dukakis was an amazing candidate for my first election? No, I didn't. But there was no way I was going to vote for a Republican. I certainly wasn't going to vote for George W. Bush after working for his best friend for years and knowing secrets about the Bush family. The biggest one being George Bush never wanted to be president. He wanted to be baseball commissioner.
Right. Well, that's what what's his name? Turd Blossom, Karl Rove, said that when he met George Bush, he said, I can make him president. Not that he should be president. Not that
he didn't want to be.
That's what I'm saying. But he said it's all like Johnny Bravo. He fit the suit. I can make him president.
The Johnny Bravo.
Yeah,
it is.
It's true. Not that he had the talent. For the non-Gen X
kids in the chat, sorry if you're not getting the Johnny Bravo, but I totally love that Johnny Bravo reference.
That's from Brady Bunch. Anyway,
it is from the Brady Bunch. It's frustrating when you know what the truth is, and yet it's not the prevailing message, and that's why we have to be louder than MAGA, and we should have always been. Yeah. And so if we're a little over, but what I would like to give everybody an assignment for the next week, which is use your voice and make Democrats answer our questions.
Yes.
Why aren't you doing more to hold Republicans accountable?
Right.
Why didn't you stand with Al Green? Why didn't you do this? Why?
Right. We want to know. What's the method to the madness here? Is there any?
Correct. I don't know, but and the other thing is if you think that Joe Biden was too old to be president, why aren't you talking about Trump's age?
Yep.
And also, why do you think that Bernie Sanders is the answer? Bernie Sanders is older than both of them. Again, there's interesting takes, but that's the problem on the Democratic side, is that there's too many divisions within the Democratic Party that people don't want to talk about. And it's, again, why we need a unifying message. So there's also a recess. That's the other thing that I wanted to make sure we got out before we ended the show. Republicans are running away from their own constituents, have been holding them accountable at town halls to the point where Mike Johnson's like, okay, no more Republicans doing town halls. So Democrats should go into red states and hold town halls in the districts where Republicans are not. Right. I don't need a Democrat to hold a town hall here. I already know what they're going to do.
No, you're right.
Democrats need to go to red states and hold town halls.
They do.
Because that'll be one way to get the word out directly to the people without it being filtered through the media in any way.
No,
you
right.
want to know?
You're right.
I want to see Eric Swalwell on a plane into Idaho. Go to Idaho.
Yeah, right.
Go.
Take a cardboard cutout of the representative who didn't show up and
say,
"Hey, we invited him. We invited them here."
That's a great idea. I love that. All
right.
So here's your assignment. Andrew Tate is the result of taking Johnny Bravo seriously. Okay. Your assignment this week: make Democrats go to red states.
That's a good idea.
Get your contact your Democratic rep and say, hey, you got some time off. Book a flight. Go to Idaho. Go to Alabama. Go to Texas. Go to Texas, please, because it's a crazy, crazy, crazy time. But the truth matters no matter what time it is. The truth always matters. And you and I will continue to scream the truth into the abyss.
We will.
Until we have to. It's on us. We know what the truth is. So we need to make sure more people know what the truth is.
And that's it.
And
that's how it starts, with the message. And
the other message I want to leave everybody with it, and I mean this from every fiber of my being. Not one person should die because of Donald Trump. Not one more. Not the ones who voted for him. Not the ones who voted against him. Nobody. Nobody should die. Nobody in red states, nobody in blue states. Not a single person should die because of him.
That's the sad part.
Really?
They will, though.
Really? I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
That's
the other thing. When Republicans, this is another, I know we're really over now, but they, they all want to drink our tears. They want to own the libs and drink liberal tears. We're not trying to drink their tears. We're trying to make sure they have health care and a job and a decent life.
And clean water to put in your body for moisture to make the tears.
Exactly. So they don't needlessly die.
Democrats deliver. Democrats deliver. Republicans remove. Okay, everybody.
All right, guys.
Be good. Take care of yourself. Listen or watch Hamilton. Buy my book. Sign up for Tara's Substack.
Yes.
Sign up for my Substack. And just make sure you're being good to each other. Hold Democrats accountable. And take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon.
We will see you next week or
thanks
before.
Thanks for being here.
All right, guys. Bye. See you.